The temperature drops before sunset, not gradually. Suddenly, one moment the steppe is cold, the next, it is something else entirely, something that has a weight to it, a presence, minus 40 degrees Celsius, the kind of cold that makes metal brittle, that turns breath into crystals before it leaves your lips, that kills unprepared animals overnight. And somewhere out there, on that frozen open steppe, a family is making tea. Their horses are fed, their children are warm, and tomorrow they will do it all again. This is winter for the Mongolian nomads, and they have been doing this for 3,000 years. Mongolia sits at the center of the Asian continent, far from any ocean, far from anything that moderates temperature. In summer, the steppe bakes at 40 degrees above zero. In winter, it drops to 40 degrees below. The same land, the same people, 80 degrees of difference across a single year. Most countries would build cities, would create infrastructure, would find ways to stay still and wait for winter to pass. The Mongolian nomads did something different. They decided to move with it, to read it, to use it, and to build a life that works in every season without fighting a single one of them. The first thing you need to understand about surviving a Mongolian winter is that survival begins in summer, not in winter. In summer, while the grass is green, while the animals are fat, while the days are long, the nomadic family is already preparing. Every decision made in July determines whether a family is comfortable in January or not. The horses are selected and conditioned. The strongest animals, the ones with the thickest winter coats, the ones with the deepest reserves of fat, are kept close. The weaker animals are traded or sold. In a Mongolian winter, a weak horse is not just an economic loss. It is a danger. A horse that cannot carry a rider through a blizzard is a horse that strands a family. The livestock that will carry the family through winter must be chosen with the same precision a doctor uses to prescribe medicine, because the stakes are exactly the same. The ger is the center of everything. You already know what a ger is. But in winter, the ger becomes something more than a home. It becomes a survival system, the same structure that keeps a family cool in summer by lifting its felt walls to let the steppe breeze through, becomes in winter a sealed thermal chamber. Every layer of felt is checked and repaired before the cold arrives. Gaps are sealed. The tuno, the circular crown at the top, is fitted with a cover that can be opened and closed to regulate heat and ventilation. The floor is covered with thick layers of felt and animal hide. The central stove, called a zurh, sits exactly where it always sits, in the middle, where its heat can reach every corner, every wall, every sleeping person. A Mongolian nomadic family burns dried dung, called argol, and sometimes wood in their zurh through the winter, not because they cannot afford coal, but because argol burns slowly, steadily, and at a temperature that is perfect for maintaining warmth without overheating the small interior. 4,000 years of fuel selection reduced to a pile of dried dung that keeps a family alive at minus 40. The question most people ask is simple. Why not just stay in one place? Why move at all? Why pack up a ger and move it across a frozen steppe when you could simply build a permanent structure and wait for spring? The answer is in the animals. A nomadic family's wealth, their food, their transport, their clothing, their entire economy is built on living animals: horses, camels, cattle, sheep, goats. These animals need grass, and grass does not grow evenly. In winter, the snow covers the pasture. Animals dig through shallow snow to reach the frozen grass beneath. But when the snow is too deep, or too hard, or when one area has been grazed down to nothing, the animals starve. And when the animals starve, the family starves. So the nomads move. They follow the pasture. They read the snow, the wind, the landscape, the way that their grandparents taught them to read it, and they find the places where the grass is still reachable, where the snow is still shallow enough for a horse's hooves to break through. This knowledge of where to go in winter, which valleys hold less snow, which hillsides face south and melt first, which routes are passable even in a blizzard, is not written on any map. It exists inside people, passed down through generations, in exactly the same way that the cold itself passes down every single year. The clothing is the second layer of survival. A Mongolian nomad who goes outside at -40 is wearing a system, not a coat. A system. The deal. The traditional long robe of the Mongolian nomad is cut wide and deep, not for fashion, for function. The wide body of the deal traps a layer of warm air between the fabric and the body. That layer of air, warmed by body heat, acts as insulation, the same principle used in modern thermal clothing. But the deal was doing it before modern thermal clothing existed, made from sheepskin or thick wool, with a silk lining in better versions. The deal regulates body temperature during the constant shift between the warmth of the ger and the brutal cold outside. The boots, called gudel, are made from thick leather with a slightly upturned toe. The upturned toe is not decoration. It is precision engineering. It prevents the boot from catching in stirrups. It allows snow to fall away rather than accumulate. And it creates a small pocket of air at the front of the boot that adds insulation exactly where the foot is most vulnerable. The hat, made from fox fur or sheepskin, covers the ears and the back of the neck, the places where heat escapes fastest, the places where frostbite arrives first. Every element of traditional Mongolian winter clothing is the result of thousands of winters of refinement, trial, error, survival, or not. Food in a Mongolian winter is not complicated, but it is precise. The nomadic diet shifts dramatically when the cold arrives. In summer, airag, fermented mare's milk, is the centerpiece of daily nutrition. Light, refreshing, slightly alcoholic, perfect for the heat. In winter, airag largely disappears because mares do not produce milk in winter, and because the body needs something different. In winter, the body needs fat, dense, animal, calorie-rich fat. Mongolian nomads eat mutton, predominantly the fat tail of the fat-tailed sheep, a breed specifically developed for exactly this purpose. The fat tail of this sheep can weigh several kilograms on a healthy animal. It is rendered down, stored, and used through the winter as the primary calorie source, not as a flavoring, not as a garnish. As the main event, tsai, Mongolian milk tea, is drunk constantly through the winter, not as a beverage in the Western sense. As a meal, salty, made with brick tea and fresh milk, sometimes with a piece of mutton fat melted into it. A bowl of Mongolian winter tea provides hydration, calories, salt, and warmth in a single vessel. It is drunk before going outside, drunk immediately upon coming in, drunk between tasks, drunk before sleep. The body of a Mongolian nomad in winter is running on fat and salt and warmth, in a combination that has been keeping people alive on the coldest inhabited steppe on Earth for 3,000 years. The Dzud is the thing that nomads fear most. More than ordinary cold, more than ordinary snow. The Dzud, pronounced Zud, is a specific Mongolian weather phenomenon with no direct translation in English. It refers to a combination of conditions that turns a hard winter into a catastrophe. A summer drought that leaves the grass thin and short, followed by an early and heavy snowfall, followed by a rapid freeze that turns the snow into a solid sheet of ice. Under that ice, the grass is there, but no animal can reach it. And without grass, the animals die. Not slowly, quickly. A Dzud can kill millions of animals in a single winter. It can destroy a family's entire herd, the accumulation of generations of careful breeding and management, in a matter of weeks. The Dzud of 2009 and 2010 killed over 8 million animals across Mongolia. Entire family economies wiped out by ice. The Mongolian nomads have been surviving Dzuds for as long as they have been living on the steppe. Their strategies are not dramatic. They are methodical. Keep animals moving. Never let them stand still in one place long enough for the pasture beneath them to be completely exhausted. Watch the sky. Watch the behavior of the animals themselves. Because horses and cattle sense changes in pressure and temperature before any human instrument records them. Keep reserves. Always keep reserves. Dried meat, stored fat, enough hay purchased or traded to keep the most essential animals alive through the worst weeks. And if the Dzud comes anyway, accept what cannot be saved. Move to protect what can. This is not resignation. This is precision. The kind of precision that only comes from 3,000 years of losing and learning and surviving. Mongolia is changing. The winters are changing too. Climate patterns that nomadic families learned to read over generations are becoming less predictable. Dzuds that once came once in a decade are coming more frequently. Young Mongolians are moving to Ulaanbaatar, where winters are still brutal, but at least the apartment has a radiator. The nomadic population is shrinking, not dramatically, not suddenly, but shrinking. And with each family that settles permanently, a piece of knowledge leaves the steppe, knowledge of which valley holds less snow, which route stays passable in a blizzard, which signs in the sky mean the temperature will drop another 10 degrees by morning. This knowledge cannot be Googled. It cannot be learned in a classroom. It exists only in the bodies and memories of people who have spent their lives reading a landscape that most of the world will never see. In many communities, there are now efforts to record this knowledge, to write down what was never written, to film what was always only shown. Whether it is enough, no one knows yet. The Mongolian nomad who rises before dawn, in a ger heated to warmth by a zurh burning argal, who drinks a bowl of salty milk tea before stepping outside, who checks the horses in darkness at -35, who reads the sky and knows what tomorrow will bring, is not performing tradition. He is not preserving culture for anyone's benefit. He is simply living the way his father lived, the way his father's father lived, in a landscape that punishes carelessness and rewards attention with the same cold indifference. It has always shown The steppe does not care about your intentions. It does not reward effort alone. It rewards knowledge. Specific, accumulated, embodied knowledge. The kind that takes generations to build and a generation to lose. The winter will come again. It always comes again. The temperature will drop before sunset. The zurh will be sealed against the wind. The zurh will be lit. The tea will be made. The horses will be fed. And somewhere on the frozen Mongolian steppe, under a sky so clear and cold that the stars seem close enough to touch, a family will be warm, not because the world gave them warmth, because they learned over 3,000 years how to make it. If this way of life speaks to something in you, if you have ever stood in the cold and wondered how people endure what seems unendurable, subscribe to Hidden Ways of Living. Every week, we go deeper. The Inuit hunters, the Maasai warriors, the Bedouin wanderers, the Amish, and now the Mongolian nomads. In winter, they are still out there, and their stories are waiting for you.